I think if Rangers just target Celtic and try and chip away at that 5 points, then you'll eventually get closer. But Hearts have done amazingly well at the start of the season, and I do think they've got a squad capable of putting up a kind of title challenge. But it's tough. It's tough for players that haven't been over the course before. The club hasn't been over the course before, and I think probably Hearts' result today will be a real blow to them. Dundee United are a decent side, but I suppose if you're going to really go and properly challenge for a title, those are the type of games that you'd expect to go and win. I think people accepted the draw at St Mirren, the last league game in the midweek, that it would actually be a decent point, tough place to go for Hearts. Maybe a game that they'd have lost previously, but home to Dundee United today, they'd expected to go and win, but they've dropped another couple of points. I think probably the international break comes at a good time for Hearts, just to reset and go again. They're still very much in the mix, and there's so many games to play between Hearts, Rangers and Celtic all at the top of the table, so it is very early days, but as I said, I think Rangers need to look at Celtic, 5 points. If they can start trying to claw that back, I think Celtic have got a couple of tough away games coming up. It's St Mirren and Hibs. Where they might drop something. So, look, for Danny Rohl, it's small steps, one game at a time. They've got another clean sheet today, same as they did at Easter Road in the last League One. As I say, 2 winnable games coming up in the league. So, I think he'll be pretty pleased with how they're going at the moment.
In the comments, Rangers is OK says chance to win 5 straight league games with Livy and Falkirk next. Really like Roll, and nice to have a manager that the fans are behind. Hope he gets money in January to buy his players and not Thelwell's. That brings me on to my last point on Rangers, Scott. I know that Miovski was preferred up front today to Chermiti. Did he do enough for you to cement his place as the first starter up front?
No, none of them did enough. I don't think any two of them are doing enough. That's probably there was a couple of negatives today, Daniel. I mean, look, they've won 3-0 away from home, got a clean sheet, so surely Rangers fans won't be complaining. The two slight negatives for me were the second half performance definitely dipped. Danny Rohl made 3 substitutions at half time, which was quite surprising, given that they were so comfortable in the first half and 2 goals up. I expected them just to go with the same 11 in the second half, go and try and get a third goal, but he said they wanted to try and inject a bit of energy and a bit of freshness into it for the second half. And for me, it didn't quite work. Connor Barron came on, Tello Asgard and Chermiti up front, and they just lost a bit of rhythm, I thought, for the first half. So that was probably a negative. And the second one, to go to your point, is the strikers. It's another game where the strikers haven't scored. I mean, look, Chermiti's obviously taken a lot of flack, and he came on in the second half again, did very little to endear himself to the supporters. But you also need to look at Miovski, because he's been brought in for big money as well. Unlike Chermiti, Miovski has got experience in the SPFL. He's a seasoned international. He's a lot older, a lot more experience. And I don't think Rangers are getting value for that outlay at the moment either. I think it was 2.5 million, potentially rising to 4.5. And he had 45 minutes today to impress and didn't really do it. So I'll be surprised if Danny Rohl doesn't want another attacker stroke striker in the January window. As you touched on, or as the caller touched on there, the real interesting thing will be how that recruitment works in January. Will Danny Rohl get licensed to go and bring some of his own players that he knows personally, who he thinks can help Rangers, or is it the way it works now at Rangers with the recruitment department that Dan Purdy and Kevin Thelwell will ask Danny Rohl what he's looking for, and then they'll give him a list of their players, and they go and get some of them. Personally, I think that would be a mistake. I think at this juncture in the season, and at this juncture in Danny Rohl's tenure at Rangers, where he will know he needs 2, 3, 4 signings to come in and really hit the ground running, to come straight into this first team, if they're going to seriously at least put an attempt in to challenge for the title. And I think just in terms of that, it's really important that Danny Rohl gets guys in that he knows and he can trust and he's got a real faith in. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, he said last week at his press conference that in the international break he was basically going to compile a kind of dossier for the club and hand it to the club during the break. and that will be his assessment of the squad since he's come in. How the club react to that, I think, is going to be really interesting come January, because you have to assume detailed within that will be players who he doesn't think have a future at Rangers, and also what's required in January for them to strengthen, and as I say, go and put in a genuine challenge for the title.
Before I let you go, Scott, I was